Today, I'll teach you to take your warbird landings from this to this. Hey there, I'm John. This is Two Brothers RC, and this is the video where I show you how to stop smashing your beautiful warbird on landing. 2 tutorial vids in a row? Who'da thunk it? The 1.5 meter E-flite P51 Mustang is gonna be the warbird we use to demo today. It's a perfect tutorial warbird because it's difficult to take off and land smoothly with. It takes a lot of effort to get scale-like takeoffs and landings. In general, warbirds can be tricky, but this one in particular is one of the most difficult out-of-the-box warbirds to get smooth takeoffs and landings with. What's the secret to success? Fly good, don't suck. That's super helpful because of how vague it is. But it's true. Flying good and not sucking works for any plane you own. More specifically, flying is gyro. Garbage in, garbage out. The best flights come from a good setup. If you listen to someone who told you that high rates should only be 10 millimeters up and 10 millimeters down with 5% expo, I hate to say it, but you're flying on a bad setup. Listening to that kind of advice means that you don't have the control authority that you'll need at low airspeeds. That's the garbage in part of gyro. When you try to operate an airplane without enough control authority, you get predictably poor outcomes. That's the garbage out part of gyro. Skill is only one part of flying well. The other part is having an airplane that responds to what you tell it to do. So before you even try to follow along here, take the time and modify your P51 or your warbird in general so that you have 150 travel or whatever equivalent it is on the radio you're using, on the ailerons, elevator, and rudder in the servo setup menu. This is enough travel to control the aircraft with the full movement range of the servos. And you also need enough expo that you don't over-control the aircraft. 30 to 50% expo is a good range to work with. Adjust that to personal preference. Contrary to popular belief, more control throw is not a bad thing. You need control authority to control an aircraft. The slower it flies, the more control surface travel you need to control it properly. Next on the list of things to do, take your time and practice your landings. If you learn nothing else from this video, this is the most important takeaway. If you want to get to this level of flying, you have to put in the work to learn. I know, it's hard. For example, Watashi wa 1年間日本語を勉強しました。日本語はとても難しいだ. And that's one of the hardest languages to pick up, but flying and learning languages are identical when you think about it. Both are skills that you develop through practice, repetition, and patience. You don't learn how to do new things overnight. You learn through consistent studying and training. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Before we dive into what it takes to get your landings down with a transmitter view that should help out a little bit, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. If you're like me and you've ever wanted to print one of the many mods you can do to your airplane, but you hate the idea of spending a ton of money on a 3D printer and all the materials for it, then JLC 3DP is what you need. JLC 3DP is a 3D printing service that you can use to print basically anything you want. No need to own your own printer either. Upload the models you want to print, choose the material to print with, get the price listed up front, and it's sent right to you quickly and easily once it's done printing. JLC 3DP takes all of the annoyance out of 3D printing by delivering high-quality prints right to your door, so you, too, can finally find and print all sorts of upgrades and mods to your planes that you found on RC groups, in Discord servers, or after browsing 3D print libraries. There's an entire world of components waiting for you. Visit jlc3dp.com today and try it out for yourself. Back to gyro again. The best landings in my experiences come from flying a stabilized approach. I actually had someone on Facebook comment on one of our reels recently who mistook stabilized approach for a gyro flies the plane down to the ground for you. What a stabilized approach actually means is that you fly the plane down to the runway using a shallow approach slope, with thrust applied to keep the aircraft flying all the way down to touchdown. Basically, a stabilized approach looks like what you're seeing on screen right now. Doing touch and goes is great practice for getting this technique down. Consistently fly no more than 20 feet above the runway at any point on the approach so that you don't have to deal with excess airspeed from diving to lose altitude. Plant the wheels on the runway and keep it tracking straight with rudder input. Then take off and do it again. Keep doing this until it becomes second nature. Wheel landings on the P-51 and other Warbirds are a rewarding experience to master. The key to all of it is the approach. A good approach doesn't require constantly changing pitch. If you need more altitude, use more thrust. If you need less, use less thrust. Working the elevator as little as possible keeps it from oscillating up and down, which also increases the scale factor of the landing. You're looking to land like a World War II ace, not a fresh ensign right out of the academy. The final key to a solid landing is the rudder work that you've got to do to keep it from ground looping, which is where it tries to flip ends on you as it lands. Tail draggers naturally want to swap the tail for the nose like a shopping cart that you push backward. This is why you see my rudder stick moving constantly. I'm trying to keep the tail from moving outside of the wheel track of the main wheels. If that happens, it's almost guaranteed that it will ground loop. Even strong rudder work can still cause a minor loop like this. Tail dragger tendencies are brutal. This takes a lot of work to get used to. So if you're one of those pilots who doesn't touch the rudder, this is a perfect time to learn. The left stick is for more than just thrust. It can save your plane from becoming a debris field of foam packing peanuts. While we're on the subject of landing, let's cover takeoffs really quick too. One big issue that I see pilots struggling with, myself included sometimes, is the amount of P factor this model and similar Warbirds have. This one in particular has a very strong tendency to pull left as it takes off. I've aborted a few takeoffs because of this and tried again. It takes right rudder to counteract the strong pulling left tendency that it has on takeoff, while the tail is getting enough airflow over it to lift off the ground and allow the tail to fly in the air before the aircraft itself begins flying. This is where having all of the control throw helps. I've maidened Warbirds for people who barely had enough rudder throw to keep their airplane tracking straight on takeoff. Don't be afraid of control surface throw. It's not going to bite you if you use the right amount of expo for your style of flying. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. At the risk of repeating myself too much, all you're seeing on display in this video is A, the skill that I've developed over time from practicing landings and treating them like something that I enjoy, not something to dread because I put it off until the very end. B, a setup that enhances what the aircraft is capable of by not limiting its control surface travel to arbitrarily low values. And C, an AS3X Plus rate gyro. Gyro stabilization makes these airframes fly bigger, feel better, and look awesome doing it. I'm not ashamed of that, and anyone who tells you that you shouldn't use a gyro can go deep throat a cactus. It's hard enough to fly a model aircraft already. We're not in the cockpit. We can't feel the wings buffeting as a stall forms. We don't have airspeed indicators, vertical speed indicators, a compass, or any other useful instruments that all modern aircraft come with. We, quite literally, fly by the seat of our thumbs. There is zero shame in a setup that enhances the aircraft's controllability and reduces the pilot's workload while still keeping it under full control of the person operating it. So, that basically covers it. You should see by now what it takes to fly like this. You can, of course, do all of this sans gyro if you so desire. I personally don't like flying that way, so I don't, but to each their own. Another big takeaway here is that if I can do this, you can do it too. I'm not unique or special. Everything I've learned is from first-hand experience and being willing to listen to advice and take criticism of my flying. And trust me, I've gotten a lot of it. Huge thanks goes out to our channel members on twobrosrc.com/supporters. A very special thanks goes out to our mega fans: Sarasota RC Squadron, Michael Smith, JR Man, Todd, N411X, Jeff Baker, High Alpha Guto, Polly1717, T Walker 88154, and Scotty Doesn't Know, along with our Ultra fans, TBRC Fan and FS Radio Control. You guys kick so much ass. Be sure to swing by twobrosrc.com and pick up some of your favorite TBRC merch. Coming up soon will be the Cavan Pulse Glider from CNHL, but I haven't had a chance to film it yet, so you'll just have to settle for this SU-27 from FMS that's also getting featured again soon for the last time. See you guys in 2 weeks.